Next topic is investment function. So first of all, the meaning of investment. Investment, we know it is an addition in the capital stock in the economy during 1 year, or you can write this definition: investment refers to the expenditure incurred on the creation of new capital assets, and these are like machinery, building equipment, raw material, etc. All these are the investments, and it leads to increase in the productivity capacity of the economy. And investment expenditure can be classified into two heads. One is induced investment, second is autonomous investment. Already these two types I have discussed in AD also. So induced investment is an investment which is affected by change of income level, and autonomous investment is an investment which is not affected by the change of income level. So let's see it in the detail. First is induced investment. So induced investment refers to the investment which depends upon profit expectation and is directly influenced by income level. So with the increase in income, this investment will also increase. So it is income elastic. We can see the diagram. So O x-axis represents income, OY axis represents investment. So II is a investment curve, slopes upward because of the positive relationship between income and investment. So with the increase in income, investment will also increase. Done. So this is induced investment curve. Next is autonomous investment. It refers to investment which is not affected by the change in the level of income and is not induced by profit motive. So it is income inelastic. Clear? So it is income elastic, it is income inelastic. It is not influenced by the change in income. So you can see the curve. So it is parallel to x-axis because there is no effect of change of income level. Clear? So next is difference between induced and autonomous. First you will write the meaning. You can write meaning. Second is motive. Induced investment, the motive is profit. It depends upon the profit expectation. More the profits, more the investment will be there. And autonomous investment, it is done for the social welfare, not for the profit. Income elasticity, it is income elastic, it is not income elastic, it is inelastic. It means with the increase in income or induced investment will increase. Next is investment curve. It slopes upward because of positive relation between income and investment, or we can say that it is income elastic, and it is parallel to x-axis, remains same because it is income inelastic sector. So this investment basically done by private sector to earn more and more profit, and this is generally done by government sector because the motive of government is social welfare, not profit earning. Clear? Next is determinants of investments. So determinants means factor affecting investment. Whenever we want to invest in a new project, we always keep some points in our mind, and there are two important factors which is very important while doing the investment. One is MEI, that is marginal efficiency of investment, and second is ROI, rate of interest. So first is marginal efficiency of investment, MEI is a short form, or we can say return on investment. So MI refers to expected rate of return from additional investment. So MEI formula is prospective yield upon supply price into 100. So it means we need these two points, that is prospective yield and supply price. So there are two factors under MEI. One is supply price. Let's see. What is supply price? It refers to cost of producing a new asset of that kind. If we want to replace an asset with the new asset, so how much cost we need to incur? For example, if machine of 10,000 is replaced in the place of an old machine, so then 10,000 will be known as supply price. Second is prospective yield. So it refers to the net return expected from the capital asset over its lifetime. For example, machine is expected to yield, means expected return is 1200 and running expense will be 200. Then the net prospective yield will be 1000, 1200 minus 200. So now we can calculate MEI, that is return on investment, prospective yield, that is 1000 upon supply price, that is 10,000 into 100. So ROI, that is return on investment, or MEI is 10% rate of return on investment. Clear? Expected return. Now next point is ROI. ROI means rate of interest. Now a rate of interest means cost of borrowing money for financing the investment. It means for investment we need money. So when we'll borrow money, at what cost we are borrowing it, that is known as rate of interest. So there is an inverse relation between rate of interest and the volume of investment. If we are able to get money at low prices, it means if ROI is less, then we can borrow more money and we will invest more and more. Clear? Now let's see the comparison between MEI and ROI. So MEI is the expected return, rate of return from investment, and ROI is rate of interest which we are paying. So if MEI, marginal efficiency of investment, is more than ROI, then will increase the investment, and we will do till MEI is not equal to ROI. So after this, if MEI is less than ROI, it means we are paying more interest and the return from investment is less, then we will stop doing investment or will reduce our investment. Next is ex-ante and ex-post saving. Here we have two words, ex-ante, which means planned or expected value, and ex-post means which is actual value, which is already done. So planned, ex-ante and ex-post, we have two topics, ex-ante, ex-post saving, ex-ante, ex-post investment. First is ex-ante saving. So ex-ante saving, the savings is done by the households. So it is the saving which household plans to save at different level of income in the economy. And ex-ante investment, it is investment which firms or producer sector plans to invest at different level of income. Ex-ante, the other names are intended, planned, voluntary, desired. All these are the terms which are used at the place of ex-ante. Clear? Next is ex-post saving and ex-post investment. Ex-post saving means the actual savings in the economy during a year. It means it is the amount which household is saved at different level of income in the economy during 1 year, and it is a sum of total planned and unplanned saving. Similarly, ex-post investments, so the investment which is actually made in the economy during a year, or we can say that it is amount which firms is invested, they invested in the economy during 1 year. So ex-post investment is a sum of total planned and unplanned investments. Clear? So you may get ex-ante or ex-post consumption also. Ex-ante means plan to consume, and post means which is actually consumed. Next is full employment and involuntary unemployment. So these two topics are important in 1 mark question. So you need to learn the definition. Full employment refers to a situation in which all those people who are actually willing and able to work at existing wage rate, at prevailing wage rate, get work without any difficulty. So this type of employment is known as full employment. Full employment doesn't mean that there is no unemployment. So we may have some types of unemployment even during full employment. So it means full employment doesn't stand for zero unemployment and 100% employment. Clear? Involuntary unemployment refers to an unemployment in which all those people who are willing and able to work at existing wage rate, but they are not getting job. Clear? So that situation is known as involuntary unemployment. So when you will calculate unemployment in the economy, we will consider this type of unemployment. So one more type we have, that is voluntary unemployment. So voluntary unemployment refers to a situation when people is employed due to their own will. They can do work is there, but they are not willing to work at prevailing or existing wage rate. So whenever we will calculate unemployment, we will take only involuntary unemployment and will not take this voluntary unemployment, because they are willingly, they don't want to do the work. Clear? And here they want to do the work, but they are not getting work. Clear this point?